kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels slow moves, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me.
Welcome everybody to Sim Racing Media. We are live from Bristol, Tennessee, home of Bristol Motor Speedway. Also home tonight to the Western States Racing League as they make their way around this half-mile speedway. We move on from last week's short track in Richmond, where we saw Bentley Glazer lead 52 laps, but found trouble and wound up finishing a lap down. He still remains our current point leader, but it didn't help his case. Wayne Hutchinson led the most laps with 84, but came in just short of winning the race, finishing in second. Late race strategy paid dividends for Jeff Myers. He was able to bring home the victory. Current points right now, Bentley Glazer's up there at 636. Jeff Schmeier, with that win and Bentley's faltering last week, is up to 629 points. Ryan Steele, 622. And then we drop back a little ways to Jeff Hollinsworth, Bob Beltrami, Brian Barnes, Kyle McCartney, Wayne Hutchinson, Charles Woods, and Paul Krumrei. Round out the top 10 there. Going to come down to these next 4 races. We have this short track here this week. Then we move on to Las Vegas next week. Then we'll have an off week for Thanksgiving and then get right back to it with Gateway and Phoenix to round out the season. Guys have been on track for quite a while now, getting in their last little bit of practice session here. Some of these guys have ran hundreds of laps, more laps than we're going to see tonight. As they do have 4 sets of tires, 3 in the pits. 200 laps is what we're scheduled here. Fastest in practice right now is Bentley Glazer with a 1471. Mike Fisher's up there with a 1474, as is Charles Woods. And Kyle McCartney and Jeff Collinsworth is just a little ways back with 1475s. Then, what else? Bentley Glazer trying to wrap up his practice session here. All these guys are going to head down pit road and get set to get their truck right. That it's going to be 200 laps. Last time they were here in the spring, Ryan Steele was able to take victory. Bentley Glazer was up front and led the most laps. Then Brian Barnes was there as well. Look for those 3 guys make an impact here. Last time they made it relatively caution-free with only 6. See if they can maintain that. They make their way through the 200 laps tonight from Bristol. Take a look here. What the weather... race info here. Take a look at the weather. 77 degrees, 58 degrees humidity. A little bit of wind, but not much to worry about. Asphalt temperature is 81 degrees. Like I said, it is a half-mile track. We'll see how these guys manage to get around. A couple of these guys have already completed their first laps. Brian Barnes with a 1482. Bentley Glazer just finished his second lap with a 1472. Ryan Steele finished his with a 1473. Mike Fisher a 1473 on his first lap. See if he can make it a little better this time. And does not. Charles Woods with a 1478. Who else is out on track right now? Fred Williams finishing up his. We've got a ton of trucks here tonight. Dustin Burns. Kyle McCartney starting his stint off here. Through the front stretch. Floats up the track a little bit there. And about right in the middle. Comes through the corners. First lap is a 1474. Bob Beltrami also just finished his first lap with a 1487. Kyle McCartney finishing lap 2. go any faster. And it doesn't look like he did. Like he matched it up. Bob Beltrami finishing his second lap with 14:82. Jeff Hollinsworth out here finishing his first lap. 15:11. And the 14:84 lap 2. Eric Woods making his way out here. Look at this wood paneling on this Chevy. Kind of cool little paint scheme there. Finishing his first lap. $14.93. Like if everybody makes a qualifying effort, we'll be looking at 18, 19, 26 trucks tonight. You know, most leagues when they come to Bristol or any of these short tracks, their field size kind of diminishes. These guys, even after last week, having a little bit of trouble at the beginning of the race with Richmond, everybody's come out and they'll have 26 trucks going. See if Keith Kelman's able to get that truck pointed in the right direction and make a qualifying effort. Like David Weaver's getting ready to go. Wayne Fleet. Oh, from David Weaver. Wayne Fleet's out there halfway through his first lap. Like he's slowing her down as he makes his way through the corner. And he puts down a 14.92. He can go any faster the second lap. Like he has that citywide scooter number 6 Ford. A little loose there, but he made it past the start-finish line. 14.92. Keith Kelman was able to make his way around the track with a 14.96. David Weaver made his first lap of 15 flat. I think we're still waiting on a couple of the faster trucks from practice. David Weaver with a 14.90. Jeff Schmeier out on track now. Makes his way through his little bit of warm-up section. Barry Phil came through with a 14.99. Jeff Schmeier coming to the start-finish line is 14.95. If he can go faster on the second lap. And he does with the 14.82. Good enough for 7th position at the moment. 3 trucks left to go. Carl Burke, Christian Bishop, and Troy Campbell. guys are gonna make a qualifying effort, or if they're just here to kind of get some points. There are only being 4 more races left in the season here. Doesn't look like they're probably going to get out on track, so start and park there. Pit stop there. Definitely could come important if we start having these green flag pit stops. You guys are running with the dual pit roads. About 20 seconds left. Get set for the race here. Get reset here. See, it's not a very big track. So we got Bentley Glazer up on the pole inside row 1 with a 14.719. Ryan Steele's just going to be to his outside. We go back to Mike Fisher and Kyle McCartney. Charles Woods, Brian Barnes, Jeff Schmeier inside of Bob Beltrami in row 4. Row 5, Jeff Hollinsworth and Rob Gall. Julian Ricci in row 6, Fred Weaver outside. Earl Weaver and David Weaver. Round out row 7. Row 8 is Wayne Fleet and Paul Crumry. Eric Woods and Keith Campbell make up row 9. Row 10, Paul Hoffman and Barry Phil. We've got James Campbell and Dustin Burns. Looks like Alan Bergen is going to be sitting back in 23rd. Like we're not going to have Christian Bishop, Troy Campbell, or Carl Burke. It looks like Fred Williams is not there yet as well. We will see how this looks when we get going here. Like I said, we're in for 200 laps, 3 sets of tires in the pits. This is Bristol Motor Speedway and the Western States Racing League. Lights should go out on the pace truck. They get all situated here. Bentley Glazer will lead them to the green. Ryan Steele outside. Mike Fisher and Kyle McCartney in row 2. Pace truck is in, and they hit the Geico restart zone pretty quickly here. And he is down and away. Like he got a little bit of a jump there on Ryan Steele. Kyle McCartney right on Steele's back bumper there, giving him a little shove, trying to go down to the inside, but just not having it. Kyle McCartney outside. Ryan Steele gonna make it 3 wide, make that pass. Ryan Steele jumps down in front of Mike Fisher. And we are still good to go. So Kyle McCartney with a huge move on that restart there, or on the start there. And now he is looking for more. He is out front of Bentley Glazer right now. He just ran a 14.98, fastest lap we've seen of the race so far. Bentley Glazer back in second. Ryan Steele hangs on for third. Mike Fisher in fourth. And everybody's kind of single filed out behind them. As Jeff Schmeier looks like he goes up to the high side, tries to get a little bit more speed, but can't quite hang on to it there, has to slow down a little bit. Oh, Charles Woods is sideways, coming through, hits the cone, but we are still green right now. 5 laps in, and they were all over the place. Keith Kellman, Eric Woods, everybody was able to avoid Charles Woods when he was going back there. The 3 of Paul Hoffman down to the inside, passing Eric Woods. Charles Woods making the move now. He is definitely faster than where he is at the moment. Then we go back to Dustin Burns, James Campbell, and Alan Bergen back here at the tail of the field. But up front, it's all Kyle McCartney. He wasted no time in getting to that lead. Went 3 wide early and then just took Bentley on the next corner. Glazer floats up the track a little ways. Steele stays low to middle, tries to get a little bit of ground there on Glazer. Mike Fisher falling off a little bit, but he might just be trying to just slow it down a little bit after seeing how racy the guys were up front. Brian Barnes up 1 position already. Bob Beltrami up 2. Jeff Schmeier trying to find a spot he wants to be at on the track. He's trying a little of the high line. Then he tries a little low, but can't quite get any more speed out of that number 34. 31 of Rob Gall making his way up through the field, up 2 positions right now. Biggest mover of the race is the number 15 of Paul Kermerai. Get a little racy up here as Rob Gall goes down to the inside of Jeff Hollinsworth. Looking to try and maybe get Brian Barnes there too. But Hollinsworth is still hanging on. Julian Ricci all over the back bumper of both of these trucks, trying to figure out which one's going to go a little bit faster to get him where he needs to be. Gall and Hollinsworth were battling out there, and it looks like Gall is kind of thrown in the towel a little bit as he starts to fade back. Julian Ricci's looking to the high side, going to try and test him now. Just not quite enough to get there and settle in. These guys are battling side by side through multiple laps, and they're able to stay off of each other, making this battle work here. Let's jump on board. kind of see how much reach he's working that wheel, trying to stay right where he wants to be as he floats down towards the bottom, trying to get a little bit more speed. Eye on turn 3 and 4, it looks like there. Jump back out here. Going on towards the back of the field. Charles Woods, after that early spin, is floating back a little ways. Oh, looks like the 15 of Rumrai. He got a little loose there. Let's take a look real quick. A different view here. See what happened. Gets a little loose, slows down, tries to stay out of the way, and the 3 of Paul Hoffman just hits him right in the back. Well, it looks like he's going to be sitting on pit road for a little bit. Bentley Glazer is almost a second back of Kyle McCartney. Kyle McCartney headed towards lap traffic with that 3 of Paul Hoffman. Bentley Glazer, Ryan Steele, not battling too hard, just trying to log laps, it looks like. Once again, thank you guys for joining us on YouTube. If you are there, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications. You will see us go live multiple times a day, as today we are closing out a 5-day or a 5-evening show here on this Tuesday night. Not a better way to close it out than Trucks at Bristol. Mike Fisher still staying about a little over 2 seconds back of this battle up front between Glazer and Steele in second and third. Bob Beltrami closing in ever so slightly on Fisher. Jeff Schmeier is able to get that number 30 Ford situated, and he is starting to move up a little bit. Brian Barnes down 1 position on this early run. David Weaver is up 4 right now. Eric Woods is also up 4, currently running in 13th. The biggest mover is Dustin Burns here. He's up 5 positions at the moment, after he's been able to avoid a couple early incidents. Nothing that's brought out a caution yet, but little trouble on track, and he's been able to avoid it and keep going in that right direction. Let's see about taking a ride on with Kyle McCartney as he goes around this track. Riding passenger seat. Down to the inside of the 04 of Dustin Burns. Next truck in front of him is Barry Phil. But you can hear him the way he is on the throttle there. Kind of burps it there a little bit. Was able to get on the gas for just a little bit before he got to the back of Weaver there. But he is just making his way through the field. And as he does that, I'm going to step aside and Give you guys some sights and sounds of Bristol. We'll be right back. All right, we are back here. Kyle McCartney is still dominating this race. When they were here in the spring, it was also pretty much a dominating race, as well as I think they only had 8 or 9 cars that wound up finishing on the lead lap, and it's pretty easy to go a lap down here. If you miss one thing, it's going to be a little rough. You see Bentley Glazer and Ryan Steele kind of battling it out here. Looks like Charles Woods and Rob Gall are trying to see which truck's going to not be the next one to go a lap down, as Kyle McCartney is flying up their tailpipe here. Not even a half a straightaway behind them right now. We're only about a quarter of the way through this race. We'll see when we start seeing some pit stops here. McCartney down to the inside of Rob Gall, going to try and make that pass here relatively quick when they come out of this corner. Bentley Glazer's been able to close in after McCartney's been dealing with the lap traffic. As Glazer goes down to the inside, is going to pass Rob Gall as they come down the front stretch. Glazer and Steele both able to get around Rob Gall. Charles Woods. Find some guys a little bit more battle in here. Jeff Schmeier going down to the inside, going to pass Ricci and Kelman. Not for position, but get the lap traffic behind him. Currently running in 6th and number 34. While they're running here, let's just see what we can do for a little zoomed on. Kyle McCartney in the number 18 snap on Toyota. Bentley Glazer to his outside. Almost is able to make that pass as he was stuck behind Bergen here. Bergen bounces off the door of Kyle McCartney. Bentley Glazer is now right on the back bumper of McCartney after dealing with Bergen there. First challenge Kyle McCartney's had since the drop of the green flag. Looks like Ryan Steele's closing in a little bit too, as Bentley Glazer's trying to use the number 13 of James Campbell as a pick to get to the front. But Kyle McCartney gets a little bit of acceleration and is able to drop down just in front of Bentley Glazer and make that pass on the lap car. But Glazer now has Steele down to his inside. Steele didn't quite have enough horsepower to get through that hole. But Glazer's looking down to the inside again as they come up on another truck. Weaver and Woods. See if Glazer's going to try and use that pick again. Kyle McCartney down to the inside, going to not let that happen this time as he makes the first move. Side by side with the 16. The 87 of Glazer is trying to find a way around Kyle McCartney. Kyle McCartney is holding him off. Glazer goes clear down almost to the apron to try and get a little bit more speed out of that 87 and get some clean air on that nose of that truck. Like Fisher's been able to make it down to the inside of Weaver and make that pass as well. Kyle McCartney now coming up on Eric Woods. Ryan Steele down to the inside. Going to push Glazer to see if he really wants to stay there, and Glazer comes back with a little bit more speed. Fisher's now closing in right on the back bumper of Steele. You can almost throw a blanket over these first four trucks. Steele keeps running that lower line coming in the corners, as does Fisher. Coming out, they kind of line back up again. Fisher stays down all the way on the inside line. Gets a little bit of run off, but can't quite get enough speed. As now McCartney has caught Woods. Just trying to cross him over here, go down to his inside, but Woods goes low. So McCartney's forced to go high, and he will catch him and wind up holding him down. And Woods almost turned into McCartney, as I don't think he saw him there. Now Glazer's to his outside, and Woods is stuck down on the inside. Woods hasn't been running that line all race, but he got stuck down there when the leaders came to pass him. We got Steele on the outside. Fisher goes high as well. Now we got Steele and Fisher battling it out after they made it around Woods. Take a look from Glazer's point of view here. Oh, and we have a caution. Let's jump back and see what happened here. Oh, Woods was in the middle of the corner, and Bergen just came up just a little bit and spun him around, hit him in that right rear or left rear quarter panel, and around he went. So we're gonna see everybody hit pit lane right now. Back live here. Kyle McCartney first one out. Steele and Glazer were close there on that front side. Now it looks like David Weaver's headed to pit lane. I was going to say David Weaver stayed out, but so we got Kyle McCartney, Bentley Glazer, Ryan Steele, Mike Fisher, Bob Beltrami, Jeff Schmeier, Brian Barnes, and Jeff Hollinsworth are the 8 trucks on the lead lap. Looks like David Weaver going to be on the lead lap as well. Looks like the 3 and 6 are down quite a few laps, so they'll take the wave around. And we'll get Kyle McCartney and Bentley Glazer on that front row. So McCartney, Glazer, Steele, Fisher, Beltrami, and Schmeier. And then we have Brian Barnes, Jeff Hollinsworth, and David Weaver. So 70 green flag laps in that first run. We will see what happens now. Kyle McCartney down on the inside, hits that Geico restart zone, and he is down and away. Green flag in the air. Hops up to that middle lane that he's been running. Bentley Glazer stays with him. Ryan Steele, Mike Fisher. Looks to the inside of Steele, but nothing doing. Bob Beltrami is staying low as Jeff Schmeier jumps to the high side. He's going to try and make that pass on Beltrami. Brian Barnes is staying back a little ways there, trying to let him settle in. Jeff Hollinsworth as well. So back up front, we got Kyle McCartney, Bentley Glazer, Ryan Steele. And they are back at it, battling up front. See if McCartney's able to run away from the field like he did earlier until he hit that lap traffic. He was out by almost a second and a half before he hit the lap traffic, and then he had to settle back in and work his way through. As Jeff Schmeier is now looking to the inside of Mike Fisher. But Fisher comes down and blocks that move there. And we are back under caution here for the second time tonight. See what we can see here. Paul Kermerai caused a little bit of damage on that back end. Ooh. Eric Woods just able to avoid it there. See if we can take a look here from Eric Woods. So you see Kermerai up there on the top there. Making his way through. You see him start sliding. Eric Woods is almost going to go door and just... No, he didn't get through it. Barely got nudged and went right into that wall. So close to making it through. So under caution again. we will re-rack them and see what happens. Everybody was on colder tires, and after you've been running 70 laps and get your rhythm and you feel pretty good, and then all of a sudden, gone. Looks like Ricci was able to get the wave around there. Gonna be back on the lead lap. Doesn't look like anybody hit pit lane that time. You guys drive around here, look at the view from the pylon up here. About getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Bentley Glazer in the 87 Chevy with Roland on the front and Gatorade on the side. Ryan Steele, Fire Emblem. Mike Fisher with that old school AOL. They're stacked back up. Kyle McCartney down to the inside. Bentley Glazer up on the high side. Row 2, Ryan Steele and Mike Fisher. Jeff Schmeier and Bob Beltrami switched high and low, but other than that, we are all stacked and ready to go. Pace truck should be diving in momentarily. And he is in. And McCartney is down and away. Gets a good jump, jumps out to the high side again. Trying to make that the most oval track he can. Glazer gets away pretty well. Ryan Steele down to the inside of Mike Fisher is going to try and take that position away. Bentley Glazer pulls out and dives to the inside of Kyle McCartney and makes it stick. Side by side they go down through turns 3 and 4, almost touching as they come to the start-finish line. Kyle McCartney still leads that lap. Bentley Glazer is holding on to that bottom line. Side by side they go through lap 2 now. Battling and battling. Nobody wants to give an inch, and that net code winds up spinning Kyle McCartney out. Didn't really touch, it just looked like it jerked them together. Let's go take a look here. See if we can get a decent look here. Make their way through the corner here, side by side battling. They battled side by side for several laps here. Make it through the corner fine. Slides up just a little bit. I don't know that they really, man. Get a different look here. Here's a good look. Slides up a little bit, but it doesn't look like they really touched too bad. Oh. Feel bad for Kyle there because he had a dynamite truck tonight. Beth Mills and Corey McCartney checking in the chat. Thanks, guys. Jeff Schmeier. So it'll be a little different restart here than we saw previously, as Bentley Glazer, Ryan Steele should be on the front row. Do we have anybody? Doesn't look like we have any takers on pit lane at the moment. Leading lap 93 of 200. Pace light should go out this leave. And they do. So we'll get stacked up again. We have Bentley Glazer, Ryan Steele, Mike Fisher, Jeff Schmeier, Bob Beltrami, Brian Barnes, Jeff Hollinsworth, David Weaver, Kyle McCartney, Julian Ricci, and Rob Gall. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here with Kyle McCartney. Kyle McCartney was one of the fastest trucks we've seen all night. Ran the fastest lap by over a tenth of a second. Bentley Glazer has the button in the Geico restart zone. Down and away he goes. Ryan Steele did not get the start he wanted as he's right behind him. Jeff Schmeier looking to make a pass early. But Ryan Steele's able to hold him off. And now he is looking to pass Glazer. Go back here and take a look here. Kyle McCartney already up 3 positions from where he was after that restart. Looking for more as he goes to the inside of Brian Barnes here as soon as they come up the corner. Oh, Kyle McCartney just got turned. But we stay green. Looks like it wasn't too bad there, as Bob Beltrami just had a little bit of a run and got right to his back bumper. But up front, Bentley Glazer is now out to a half-second lead. And as we do that, I'm going to go ahead and step aside. We'll take a quick little commercial timeout. You won't miss anything. We'll be side by side. And we'll be back here at Bristol for the Western States Racing League finale.
What's up, guys? Roger Debo, front tire changer for the 45 Alpha Prime car. You're watching Sim Racing Media.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Looks like you did not miss a thing, as I was saying. Up front, we still have Bentley Glazer. Ryan Steele's still looking to try and get past him. They've been running basically nose to tail for the majority of the race here. Ryan Steele just doesn't seem to quite have enough to get by him. Jeff Schmeier has been able to make it up to third place. Mike Fisher fell back a little ways and is currently sitting in P4. Brian Barnes rounds out your top 5 with Bob Beltrami, Jeff Hollinsworth, and Kyle McCartney all looking to get by him as Jeff Hollinsworth spins almost sideways but is able to save it. And we stay green. What a save by Hollinsworth there. Back and take a look real quick. Can start to get this run here. Goes down to the inside. And just slides around. He is now closed right back into where he was in Bob Beltrami. As Kyle McCartney is able to pass Beltrami there. And is currently sitting in P6. Making his way back towards the front after a little bit of bumping up front about 20 laps ago. Probably one of the closer battles we have on track at the moment. Everybody else is pretty well spread out here. We got Glazer and Steele. Myers back there quite a ways. Fisher's back there a ways as well. With these 5 cars, Barnes, McCartney, Beltrami, and Hollinsworth. Biggest mover, even though he's a lap down, is Barry Phil. He's up 8 positions from where he started. Ooh, as Weaver goes around Earl Weaver right in the middle of the stretch there, and it collects Glazer and Steele. Let's go back and take a look at that. He gets going. Oh, Woods gets into the back of him. And let's go back here. It's a 04 coming through. Not what I wanted. Go back here. Take a look. From Bentley Glazer's point of view, he sees it all happening. He tries to slow down. The 04 comes down and can't quite get it. Oh, looks like he might have made it through. The 12 of Ryan Steele did not, though. Take a look from Ryan Steele's point of view here. Let's just go this. Bentley Glazer locks up the brakes sideways. Comes sliding through. The 07 slides down and hits the 12 of Steele. Steele bounces off. And all of them are going to have to head to pit lane. They're trying to get this all sorted out here. Right now, Ryan Steele so that was probably the big one. Collected a lot of the field there. So we'll stack them up here. Case lights are out. Ryan Steele, Jeff Schmeier on the front row. Brian Barnes, Jeff Hollinsworth, row 2. Row 3 is Mike Fisher and Bentley Glazer. Row 4, David Weaver and Bob Beltrami. Row 5, Kyle McCartney and Barry Phil. Pace truck is in. Steele has the button and he is down and away. Like he gets going decently, just was able to slide up in front of Schmeier. Schmeier making his way back to the front. Was able to win last week at Richmond as Mike Fisher looks like he gets pushed down to the inside as Jeff Hollinsworth goes to the high side. Bentley Glazer is back here as well after having a little bit longer pit stop than he wanted. We have a new leader with 75 laps to go in Ryan Steele after Bentley Glazer and Kyle McCartney both had issues running in the front. Brian Barnes back in third, Jeff Hollinsworth in fourth, Mike Fisher in fifth. We have Bentley Glazer and Kyle McCartney back here in sixth and seventh. Bob Beltrami's starting to close in on Kyle McCartney. Videos battling really close, and it doesn't look like we really do, but we got a few here and there that are within about a half second of each other, but nothing too close as Ryan Steele has already got 0.6 of a second in front of Jeff Schmeier. Schmeier working his way up 5 positions from where he started. Currently running that number 30 Ford in position 2. Jeff Hollinsworth is also up 5. But biggest mover is that 42 Toyota with that Caterpillar logo on it of Barry Phil. He's up 10 positions. Looking to make it more. Oh, as he gets loose coming out of the corner. Slides down to the inside. Looks like he's able to keep it going, so we will stay green. But that is definitely on me. Very sorry about that. Showing how good you've been running lately. Ryan Steele's going to pass him on the high side. And put him a lap down, but he's still up 8 positions. Still having a heck of a day. Jeff Schmeier is starting to work his way around some lap traffic as well. Like he's getting stuck behind Bill there. Down to the inside, is going to make that pass now. Jeff Hollinsworth is up 6 positions, sitting in P3. Bentley Glazer's starting to work his way back towards the front. Don't know if that 87 Chevy has the same speed that it had when it was out front. When it's out front, it was pretty quick there. Same with that 18 of Kyle McCartney. Kyle McCartney, once he made it to the front, was gone. But now he's mired back there in 7th position and not having too much luck there. But now Fisher is having a rear view mirror full of Glazer. And Barry Phil is almost in the way, but he's staying high, trying to let these two guys battle it out for position. As Phil's staying up close to that wall, trying to give these guys plenty of room. They make it by him without incident. But up front, Ryan Steele is now out to a 2.5 second lead. After Jeff Schmeier's been having to deal with a couple lap trucks that have been a little bit stubborn for him to get by. Jeff Hollinsworth is going to catch the 3 of Paul Hoffman as well. Ryan Steele passing Woods there. Going to try and pass Ricci on the outside. Ricci stays low. Steele has enough pace to get by him on that outside, and he does coming into turn 3. Getting towards the final quarter of this race. These guys have been lights out here at Bristol, showing you what the Western States Racing League is all about. Once again, if you are in the YouTube chat, definitely hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications. Make sure that you're here every time we go live, especially if you want to watch some racing action. We do this multiple times a week and multiple times a day. As today, this is the 5th show tonight, and no better way to close it out than with the Western States Racing League putting on a show here at Bristol. Jeff Schmeier closing in a little bit of ground after he was able to get by a couple of those lap trucks that slowed him down a little bit as he's getting to Ricci here. If he's going to be able to make that pass without any trouble. Dives down to the inside, and he does. Ricci stays up high, and Schmeier is by without incident. Looks like Jeff Hollinsworth is catching Ricci almost in a bad spot. He's able to get at least door to door. Bentley Glazer's now up into 4th position as he was able to get by Fisher. Kyle McCartney still back in 6th, has to work his way around Charles Woods, who is a lap truck, and then he will have Mike Fisher in front of him. So Schmeier needs to find some more speed out of that number 30 if he wants to catch Ryan Steele, or Ryan Steele is going to have a hiccup there somewhere. Doesn't look like looks like Ryan Steele's going to catch at least a couple more trucks here in very quick order, as Rob Gall is about to go a lap down as Steele goes down to the inside, gets side by side, able to float up in front of Gall there, and then there were 9. We'll see if Schmeier, Hollinsworth, or Glazer is going to have anything for Ryan Steele. We saw these guys run 70 laps, so everybody should be pretty good to go as far as fuel and stuff goes. Everybody last pitted on lap 118. They should have plenty to make it to the end. So if you're spotting for Ryan Steele, you gotta wonder what his spotter's telling him. That's kind of one of those curious situations when he's out there by himself. Just stay quiet on the radio. You tell him anything, because you never know what might happen there. Like we got a few guys that have elected to put it on the hauler. Bergen, Fleet, Eric Woods did, and it looks like Paul Hoffman did after that last accident there. Like Ryan Steele is slowly catching Earl Weaver there. Like Jeff Schmeier doesn't have anybody around him at the moment, but he's still over 2 seconds down from Steele. Jeff Hollinsworth is back there a little ways. He's going to have a rear view mirror full of Bentley Glazer here in a couple seconds, as Glazer is closing in, trying to get a little bit more speed out of that Gatorade 87 Chevy. Going to get another podium finish. Try and stay close to Schmeier. When we were going over the points earlier, Schmeier and Glazer are not separated by too many. I believe it's only 7 points at the moment. So every position matters. Bentley Glazer is going to get that bonus point for leading a lap, but Meyer had not, as Bentley Glazer makes the pass on Hollinsworth and makes it look easy. So he is definitely on the move and one of the faster guys on the track. But the leader is running just as fast. His last lap was a 15:82. Glazer's was a 15:86. So unless something happens here and lap trucks get in the way of Ryan Steele, it might be hard to catch him with. They're running almost identical times. Meyer and Steele both ran a 15:88 that time. Glazer was a little bit faster, but I don't know if it's going to be a little bit too late to make any sort of action on the 12 Chevy of Ryan Steele. As Steele gets Pye Crummery right there. Like he'll have a set of 3 or 4 lap trucks to deal with. See if we can find them here. Yeah, it looks like Kelman, Burns, and Weaver. You have Barry there. Dustin Burns, Keith Kelman. Ryan goes down to the inside. Makes that pass look easy on the 04. The 42 is sideways, but is able to save it. Barry Phil with a heck of a save. I bet Ryan Steele was maybe in need of a new fire suit now. Leading the race by almost 2 seconds, and sees the guy go sideways right in front of him. That is definitely something you do not want to see when you are running that fast. Jeff Schmeier was able to close in a little bit of ground and got that gap to under 2 seconds at the moment with 25 laps to go. But now that Steele is back in the gas, he has pushed that gap back to 2 seconds. Bentley Glazer is all over the back bumper of Jeff Schmeier. Glazer is looking for that lead and trying to make it where he can at least have a chance to race Ryan Steele for the win. That 18 truck of Kyle McCartney just is not the same after he got bumped a couple times there, involved in a couple little accidents, but he's still having a heck of a day. Right now running in P6. Looks like Mike Fisher was able to get by Jeff Hollinsworth there. Glazer's trying to go down to the inside, going to try and pass Meyer as they come by the start-finish line. It looks like he got a little bit loose and had to check up. Otherwise, he was probably going to lose it there, but he's still right back to that back bumper of Schmeier. Glazer and Schmeier 1-2 in the point standings and sitting 2-3 right now on track. Coming up on lap traffic, Glazer got stuck behind Kelman, trying to figure out which way to go. Mike Fisher's closing in as well as Rob Gall's coming off of pit lane. Weaver stays high. Glazer is all over that back bumper as well as Fisher. Fisher is right on there as well. 3 trucks that you could reach out and touch each other with just a piece of paper there for a moment. Weaver goes high. Glazer tries to make the pass on the high side. Don't know if there's going to be quite enough room. Glazer gets a heck of a run coming off. It's right to the back bumper of Weaver as Schmeier slows down, and Mike Fisher makes the pass on Schmeier there as well. Schmeier and Weaver side by side. Glazer was able to make the pass and is now sitting in P2, but he is 3.5 seconds back from the leader, and Mike Fisher is all over his inside. Fisher's getting closer, almost to that left rear quarter panel. And Jeff Hollinsworth is now on the back bumper of Schmeier as well. Wonder if Schmeier maybe used a little bit too much of his stuff there, as Kyle McCartney has switched it into high gear and is now sitting P6, but right on the back bumper of Hollinsworth and Schmeier. 14 laps to go. Ryan still has a 3.5 second lead over second place Bentley Glazer. Mike Fisher not too far behind as he is battling down to the inside of Glazer. Side by side they go. Let's see what we can see from Fisher's point of view here. If he gets a run down to the inside, pulls it down. It's just halfway, 3/4. But Charles Woods is in front of him. Oh, looks like he barely squeezed through there, and he is able to make that pass. Heck of a drive there by Mike Fisher. You saw him get right next to Glazer, try and make the move, but Woods came down in front of him, was able to clear Glazer and slide back up and go around Woods without too much of an incident. But now both of these guys, Fisher and Glazer, have got to figure out what they can do to catch that number 12 Chevy of Ryan Steele. He's out to almost a 4-second lead with 9 laps to go. They are running a little bit faster lap times, but not enough to matter at the moment. Ryan Steele just has to hit his marks. Like there's not too many lap cars in front of him that are going to form any sort of hindrance. Like Mike Fisher's pretty well sitting in the clear, as is Bentley Glazer, Jeff Hollinsworth, Jeff Schmeier, Kyle McCartney. Goes down to the inside and is going to try and get into the top 5 if he can make this pass on Jeff Schmeier. Side by side they go through the corner. McCartney gets just to his left quarter panel, but not quite enough to carry it through. Trying to oval that corner to make it a little bit easier to carry more speed. Gets right back to that rear bumper of Schmeier, but I don't know that he has enough to carry the speed through as we are down to 4 laps to go, 3 to go as Ryan Steele just passed that start-finish line. Ryan Steele has nobody in front of him, but he's got a couple hungry guys behind him. As Mike Fisher has closed that 4-second gap down to 2 1/4. 2 laps, but it's not going to matter. Ryan Steele makes his way through 3 and 4 here and will come to the white flag final lap. Ryan Steele will win round number 17 from Bristol Motor Speedway. Mike Fisher finishes in second. Bentley Glazer in third. Hollinsworth in fourth. Kyle McCartney up to fifth. Jeff Schmeier, Bob Beltrami, and Brian Barnes round out the lead lap cars. So, Ryan Steele with that number 12 Chevy Dog Bear team in that winner's circle. 200 laps, only a couple cautions. Heck of a race by these guys here. Let these guys get to the media center here, and we'll get them all hooked up. Real quick. Hey, Mike up in the booth, got a copy? Mike, you got a copy? Looks like his mic is not working, so no, thanks for letting us know, Mike. Heck of a run here today for a number 43 Toyota. Went back towards the back a little ways and then went back right back up towards the front, finished one position better than where he started in P2. Bentley Glazer round up sitting in P3, and he's not well. So I guess we will jump to race winner. Hey Ryan, Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
Hey man, heck of a run. Got a little lucky there with the way you came out of the pits there and was able to get in front of Bentley and just kind of drove away after you got stuck back there in traffic. When you saw that accident and wound up getting in it, were you a little worried about the way the race was going to shape up for you after that?
Well, certainly. Like I figured it was probably going to put me in the back of the bus, but then wound up coming out in first because I guess I'm presuming Bentley must have missed the fact that pit road was open. And honestly, this is the second time I've had to take a fast repair at this track and then wound up winning the race because it gave me an advantage. Because taking the fast repair gave me a much cooler engine. And what we were having problems with today is that the setup was a little bit too aggressive with tape. And it would overheat within the first 20 laps if you ran as fast as you could. But on that last restart, since I had a fresh engine and it hadn't been running the whole race, I could go as fast as I wanted for longer, and that let me get out by 2-3 seconds before I had to slow down again. So that kind of gave me the win there.
Dang. I didn't realize it was that tight and that was what was going. Definitely made a difference because whatever it was, you were able to get out to almost a 4-second lead there for a little while, but until you hit that lap traffic and had to work your way through there.
Yeah. If you notice people blowing engines for no particular apparent reason, it was because they were overheating. You had to keep the RPM down, deliberately run the bottom of the track just to keep the RPM down and not go as fast as you could, which driving, I want to say cautiously, was just fast in general anyway. If you were going up to the top of the track, you were just burning your tires off regardless. Yeah. So you're burning your engine and your tires. So it was just faster in general, just to be slow.
Well, apparently, like you said, Steady kind of won the race there, but having that ability to take that fast repair at the end. Anybody you want to thank for that win tonight?
Well, I have to thank my Dog Bear teammates, because if I hadn't gotten the heads up about that engine problem, I probably would have blown the engine within the first 20 laps like a couple other guys did. So that was definitely a race saver. And I got to thank you guys for covering the race. And that's it. Thank you.
All right, I'll maybe see you next week at Vegas.
Hope so. See you then.
Yep. All right, Mike, you got a copy now?
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Well, hey, man, heck of a run there. Started in P3 and kind of faded back a little ways, but was able to run a much better last quarter of the race and wound up finishing in P2. How was that race you?
It was a great race. I just want to thank all the other drivers. Anytime you have everyone running clean like that, that's what we're all here for. So that's what I'm here for. It's only my third race with this league, and I'm definitely going to come back.
Definitely, it's good to see nice, clean drivers, and I mean, especially here at Bristol. I mean, you basically run 200 laps and you only have 3 cautions. I mean, I don't know any other league that could do that. So definitely thank you guys for putting on a show that we get to broadcast here.
Yeah, thanks a lot to everyone. This track, I think it's all about tire wear. I just ran the bottom line for the most part. I watched everybody getting aggressive and battling each other, and I just saved my tires and I came back, and thanks again to you guys.
Definitely. Anybody else you want to thank on that truck or look forward to next week?
Thanks to Bob and everybody else. Let's keep it clean again, and see you next time.
All right. I will let you get back to celebrating your second place finish and maybe talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, that was the top 2 there. Go ahead and go the final results here from Western States Racing League round number 17 at Bristol Motor Speedway. We got Ryan Steele winning this race, Mike Fisher finishing second, Bentley Glazer in third, Jeff Hollinsworth fourth, Kyle McCartney fifth, Jeff Schmeier in sixth, Bob Beltrami seventh, Brian Barnes eighth, Dave Weaver ninth, Julian Ricci 10th, and one of our biggest movers of the night, Barry Phil, finished 11th. Charles Woods, Rob Gauld, James Campbell, Dustin Burns round out the top 15. Then you have Keith Kelman, Earl Weaver, Paul Crumry, Paul Hoffman, Eric Woods, Wayne Fleet, Alan Bergen. Then we've got Fred Williams, Christian Bishop, Troy Campbell, and Carl Burke that all started and parked. So that is the end from Bristol Motor Speedway as they head to Las Vegas next week before the bye for Thanksgiving. Once again, thanks everybody for tuning in on YouTube. And while you're there, if you got a second, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you will see these guys every Tuesday night. Well, almost every Tuesday night. But once again, this is Mike Timoni for Sim Racing Media and everyone here at the Western States Racing League. Good night.